again for Avner Levy, who asked about, I deleted, I feel so bad, I remember the question very clearly. It was about taking Hashem's name in vain. What does it mean, and does it apply to Hebrew and English, or just to the Hebrew name? And is it only to the name that we don't say now, the ineffable name, or is it also to every name? Like God or Lord, used as examples, I guess. Hashem, Elohim, Havaya, spelled out the right way. This is a good question, and also I think there's a general question of where does it stem from. To me, in Judaism, the way the kingdoms, as it were, the human, animal, plant, and mineral kingdom are broken down. The way they're categorized in Hebrew is Medaber, Chayet, Tzemech, and Domem. The distinction being the human is called a Medaber, a speaker, and this is what seems to separate us, distinguish us from the animals. Whereas it could be that dolphins have a language in which they pontificate about government and society and politics and art and literature. We just wouldn't know about it. It could be, but it could also not be, and we're just not sure either way. We do know that, I mean, they don't seem to have art like we have or things like this. I'm not sure, to be frank. Same thing with bees. Bees could also be talking about things except for where's the hive and where's the queen and how much honey do you have to get from here to there. Or ants can also, within their colonies, they made a cute movie about ants that perhaps they have these like very sophisticated lives and they have all these issues. Either way, not to get too off topic, but humans can talk and we can describe what we're feeling and what we're thinking about. We can pontificate about different things, anything we choose to, Torah and secular things. And that seems to be what distinguishes us. So within this power of speech, God, and this is one of the Aseret Dibros, this is one of the 10 Commandments that was heard, according to some opinions, by every single Jew of the 3 million Jews and all the souls that would later come into the world, all the future Jews at Har Sinai. And I think God wanted to distinguish within our speech a holy and a secular. And when it comes to His name, anything that once you speaking in general elicits a sense of familiarity with something. When you speak about something, you become close connected to it, and you can take it for granted. You've established a relationship with it just by your own speech. And I think God wanted Himself, even though He did give us the power of speech, and even though He revealed to us several of His names, He wanted to stay aloof, and He wanted to stay separate. And He said, "Do not take my name in vain." And it's come down practically in halacha. You shouldn't say, you shouldn't make nedarim, you shouldn't make oaths in God's names, and you shouldn't. We generally we say Hashem a lot of times, Jews, the name, which is just our way of avoiding saying His name in general. But when it comes to saying thank God and blessed is God, these are positive ways, and these are things that I think in a more Hasidic interpretation, I think this is the concept that when you're saying something like thank God or Baruch Hashem, you don't just say it haphazardly, and you don't say it without an appreciation and an acknowledgement that you're thanking the creator of the universe, you're thanking the maker of your soul and your body, you're thanking the sovereign of all the worlds, you're thanking the highest supreme life force, any force that there is imaginable. And you don't want to do it in a way of haphazardness, in a way of, just like you say anything else, like, oh, I went to the basketball game, and this happened, and this happened, and then you mention God's name, and I think God wanted to be separate, even within our speech, as to how we view Him versus how we view other entities in the world, like the moon or the stars or other people even. And that's how I always took it. And the Rambam holds this does apply in any language. So Dios in Spanish, or God or Lord, would be the same kind of concept. And that's why when writing on a piece of paper God's name, what we'll do because the paper will generally end up in a pile of refuse, or it'll be recycled or in a garbage heap. We abbreviate one of the letters. So we're not writing the whole name, so we don't want that name to be put on in garbage. We do the same thing with God. We write G/D because we don't want God's name to end up in a place of filth. The same concept when you see money on the floor. People think Jews are so cheap; they're always picking up money from the floor. But it's God's name is on the floor, and people could be stepping on it. I don't know how this separation of church and government doctrine missed the concept of putting God's name on their money, but they did. It's one of the big hypocrisies of this government. But when you see money on the floor, you have to realize God's name is sitting on the floor. And just like if you saw a siddur with God's name on the floor, you wouldn't walk. You pick it up right away. You have to pick it up, put it in a pushka. I don't know if you want to touch it. It's probably dirty anyway, but and I don't know if you want to benefit from it. It's probably for poor people, but either way, put it in a pushka, get rid of it, but don't let God's name sit on the floor. And in this way, don't take God's name in vain. Don't make God and God's existence a mundane part of your reality, because it's not. It's anything but. And this is, I think, this prohibition against taking God's name in vain. Don't make it separate between secular and holy. And this is the same thing with Shabbos and the Sabbath. You separate between the holy and the regular. And without this distinction, lines become blurred, and you open yourself up to missing a lot of the beauty that is spirituality, a lot of the magic in life, a lot of the mysticism, a lot of the great enhancers of life become confused and become kind of smeared and blended together without this distinction, without separation. So we shouldn't take God's name in vain. We shouldn't take holy concepts in general in vain. That's my take on it. Hope this helps, and God bless. Thanks for your questions.